Hey, aloha. Welcome to the Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm Tom Gaddis. My business partner, Nick Ponte, in the house as well, live to you from Maui. Welcome, 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 everybody. We are excited to be here. We have an amazing guest, the guru to the gurus, the original OG, Rich Sheffrin, in the house for the live show today. Hey, what's up, Patty? I know, man, I'm experiencing some issues with Facebook on my end, so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe put in the comments if you guys are on Facebook, if you can see the show. I mean, that's super. I see people starting to come on. Yep. What's up, Richie?
Okay.
Man.
Life is good.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, I mean, I see some people starting to come on, so it must not be down for everybody. So that's good. Well, awesome. Well, for anybody who's having issues, obviously this will post in the group and all that. What's up, everybody? Well, awesome. Nick, a couple things. What's been going on in your world as we get started? We'll do a couple quick little. I'm not able to. Let me see if I can work on the shout outs while you're updating people and introducing Rich.
Yeah, I'm just, I mean, we've been talking about a lot lately in all of our kind of private trainings about scaling capacity of clients, capacity with our teams, project management, et cetera. And then, combining that with the ability to deal with the onslaught of new clients that you're hopefully getting into your agency. And if you're not getting, then, what we're going to talk about today is obviously going to help you with that. Who was on our training with Rich earlier this week? Put a 1 in the chat if you were on the training, because man, that was probably the funnest webinar that I've been on in a long time, Rich. It was like a history lesson in just especially for me, I haven't even been in this world for that long. And for you to lay all that information, I'm like, holy shit, that's how we got here. That's crazy, And a lot of people are also saying one. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about that stuff today. We're going to talk about the pattern that basically blew me away. I mean, for Tom and I, we were talking after the show, Rich, and we were like, holy shit, this is exact. I mean, this resonates with us.
We have lived and are living those things that you talked about, and when you kind of tease the pattern and you're like, look, once you see this pattern, it'll change the way you look at everything. It's true. Once you understand what's really going on, you're like, oh my God, this all becomes clear all of a sudden. And you
really explains away why a lot of people struggle and don't understand why. And then it also gives you a path to have blockbusters. That certainly did for me. I mean, I went from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And it wasn't until I had a clear idea of what it was that was actually the main driver of blockbuster marketing that it eluded me until that point. But once I saw it, then it was, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was relatively clear,
Yeah. And I think what you say there is really key, because sometimes you think, oh, well, if I just figure this thing out, it's going to, and you're right. Easy is not the right word, right? It's not it still requires effort and you to do your part. But the biggest thing for me, once I really started to understand real marketing principles, positioning and features versus benefit, when I really understood them, then I no longer was sitting around wondering well, what do I do now, or what do I do next, or what do I say, because I knew some of those fundamental things. It made it clear oh yeah, if you're going to do something, the first thing you do is look at the market you're going to go to, and then get an idea. And then it just all of a sudden you kind of just sort of, what the next steps are, even when you don't know what the next steps are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think that for a lot of people out there, they try lots of tactics, whether they're an online marketer and doing it for themselves, or they're an agency doing it for their clients, and they wonder why they don't get better results. And I think that once people kind of understand how this all works, they can know that ahead of time. And that saves a lot of energy and effort and a lot of disappointment. And that allows you then to avoid those things that are going to lead to disappointment, either for yourself or your client. and just focus on those things that actually will be a driver of momentum for both either you or your clients, right? And for me, that's always been kind of the way I've looked at things. I mean, my clients are generally much bigger than me for the most part. Back in the old days, like when I was coaching guys like Dice and Brunson and Todd Brown and those guys, or Mike Filsain, like we all had similar size businesses. Maybe mine was a little bit bigger, but nowadays, like the people I work with are much bigger than me, and therefore the stakes are much bigger. And I'd much prefer to have things kind of understood before putting such big stakes in play.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense. Yeah. And yesterday or the other day, you talked a lot about the circle of friends and colleagues and people that you work with and you have. And it's pretty impressive because, like, for me, I have this, I have a community of people that I reach out to, right? Like usually when I have an issue in my business or something that's way bigger than me, I need help, and for me, I know that like my go-to support infrastructure is like, okay, the first place I go is to like somebody that has been there before and they've experienced this, rather than trying to research and figure it out myself and try something that leads me to a dead end. I've done that millions of times. Most of us have done that.
Most of us have done that in the beginning until we learn better.
Right. And hopefully, you have, everyone here by now has gotten to the point where they know there are better paths to success, shorter ones, faster ones, easier ones. And for me, it's people always say your network is your net worth. And there's definitely, I believe that as well. But obviously some people have better networks than others, and your ability to use the people around you to get information that is going to help you is extremely powerful in helping you produce the type of results that you're looking for. Like, if your network doesn't really have a lot of experience in what you're doing, the results you're going to get from their information are minimal. But if these people are light years ahead of you, the results you're going to get are probably light years ahead of where you've gone. And so, the other day you spoke about that quite a bit, and you mentioned like a couple of moments in time that like really were pivotal in doing that. And I don't want to let the cat out of the bag completely, because you guys should all watch that training. There's so many. I think everybody here, if you go watch that, if nothing else, you're going to feel like you have this like backstage experience in how internet marketing has really developed, and how the people that you are all familiar with have gotten in front of these trends and been able to have the success that they have had. And, from the outside looking in, you just think it's different than it really is. And so, I don't know, Rich, like how, maybe like just quickly, could you give us kind of like a brief overview of like what we kind of talked about the other day in terms of like the new strategies that come out and why people have less results when they implement them now versus when they first get started?
Sure. I mean, there's I think it's kind of one of those things that it's kind of like the Internet Business Manifesto in the sense that a lot of people had read it and felt like after they read it, it just connected a lot of dots in their experience. And it was something that should have been obvious, maybe, but until the dots were connected, they didn't really see it, nor were they operating as if they saw it. And so this pattern that I'm talking about is kind of like that, right? That like what I'm going to say, I don't think is going to be that revolutionary, right? But when you see the pattern proven over and over again with like specific results, it starts getting a lot clearer, right? And basically, it's that every marketing tactic and strategy should kind of be printed with an expiration date, like good until, right? Because the performance will degrade over time. And that not only does the performance degrade over time, but also the amount of effort, the amount of resources, the amount of skill that's required to achieve results increases over time. And so, I was very fortunate, and, this is a good example of it, I guess. I think I have the only $1 billion testimonial in existence, like in 1 year. And
It's a solid testimonial too.
Yeah, and I didn't have to do really very much for that testimonial. And the testimonial was generated. Well, the testimonial was given to me by Agora, and the way that we generated that $1 billion worth of growth in a year was by the video sales letter, so VSLs, and that was early on in their introduction, and it was actually introduced to me, so I had nothing to do with it, by John Benson, who created it. And so John Benson showed it to me, told me about the insane results they were getting. I brought it over to Agora, and immediately, response rates increased 400% in the US, 300% in France, 250% in Germany. And, it's kind of, I can take a screenshot, maybe. Let's see. It's already getting buried. But I just sent out 3 texts to one to Jay Abraham, one to Joseph Schriefer, who I consider to be the best publisher at Agora. He was the best publisher at Agora Publishing before he left. Agora tried to get him back to be the CEO of Agora. He said no. MarketWise tried to hire him, and he said no. And because he was loyal to the company that he was a part of, and so MarketWise wanted him so badly, they bought the company just so that they could have him. So I texted Jay and this guy Joe, and another friend of mine who runs about $100 million golf company. And I was introducing all 3 of them to this one gentleman, Peter Kell. And Peter Kell has developed a new type of VSL that plays completely on YouTube. It's done in a documentary style, and been responsible for turning Mind Valley from a loser into a colossal winner. And it's what's different about it is that the whole VSL plays on YouTube. So you're not trying to bring someone to a separate page, to a separate, you're reducing a lot of the friction. So anyway, strategies at their inception are insanely powerful. And so when I sent those texts to my friends, right, to Jay, to Joe, and to this Donnie, what I'm doing is I'm sharing something that is very explosive in the moment, right? And it can only go downhill from here. And in a year from now or 2 years from now, there'll be a course on it. Some people will start doing it more often. And then at some point, it will degrade even further. So the question is how do you find those things early at its inception where you get the maximum payoff? And what you'll notice is that most small companies that became big companies, or entrepreneurs that just started that became kind of big online, they all had something like that. They all got in front of something early on, because it's almost impossible to achieve any kind of momentum of any significance when you're doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, it's so true. And a couple of things that stuck out to me too from that, I thought about all the tactics and things that we use, and in the agency, we have 2 different things. In the online world with Offline Sharks, Remote Millionaires, a lot of people are very familiar with sales funnels, VSLs, the things that are just, we're all conditioned to purchase from, even Facebook ads. At one point, a Facebook ad was this thing where you could post damn near anything and get huge amounts of attention, huge amounts of traction. And that's because it wasn't saturated yet. It was new. It's a great example, right? And today we still use Facebook ads, but it's much more expensive. It's much more difficult. You have to do much more extreme things to get, a portion of the results that you could get before when it was new, like you're saying, where, I would imagine at some point, Rich, in your circle, there were people talking about Facebook ads like, hey, this is a new thing. You guys should be doing this right now. And you guys probably jumped in, put some heads together, and were crushed it with Facebook ads.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane for us, especially because for us, it was the first time that we could target by anything other than search, really. And so it was game changer for us, because, if I couldn't, people were too green for what I do. If they typed into a search engine, how to make money online, right? Because there's too many like easy button promises, and most people have to press those buttons a couple times to determine that those buttons generally don't work. And so they're not going to like buy something that does require some effort and takes some thinking until they've kind of gotten clear that the easy button won't work for them, right? So like I couldn't advertise in search like how to make money online, like that's too green. But like I couldn't also, you know, that my clients might be users of like Infusionsoft in the old days, Keep Now, or you know, ClickFunnels or things like that. But if they're doing a search for those things, they're looking for those things, and I'm a complete interruption. And me like having a pay-per-click ad in that moment is really, I'm competing against what their initial desire is. So when Facebook first came on the scene, it was the first time that I could be like, oh, okay, they're fans of Michael Filsaime, or they're fans of Frank Kern, or they're fans like of Russell Brunson. Like these are people now that I can specifically target, that I can go after, that I hadn't been able to go after before. So for many people in internet marketing, it was not only was it cheap and easy and very easy to make work at that time, but it was also opening up a whole new door to us, which was being able to target based on who the people were, not like trying to get in front of a search phrase.
Yeah, much more like demographic, interest-based targeting.
Yeah.
And, you know, Tom and I run ads for information. We run ads for software, but then we run ads for the agency and getting clients. And like what we have seen is that information is, and I'm curious what you think, Rich, probably the most difficult to run ads for, info-based products compared to like agency stuff. And I think it's because people in the info space, or people that are buying information on marketing and all that, they know all the tactics, they know all the things. And so it's much more difficult to get their attention on that feed, you know. But if you take those same tactics and you apply it to like in your local market, like, you know, I'm just going to let everybody know. So, you know, Rich revealed a program called Steal Our Winners the other day, where he has his network of people that, you know, he works with that are basically his inner circle. And, you know, you can imagine a lot of those people have amazing strategies and tactics to grow their business. And so my camera seems to have froze.
We can still hear you though. You're good.
It just looks like your lips are not moving.
Well, so when you take that type of information that is so powerful or working well in info online world, and you apply it to the agency space, local space, where people don't have any idea what you're talking about, it's extremely powerful. And what I have seen in the agency side, like, you know, the people that are inside Steal Our Winners, like Neil Patel, I mean, he's one of the kings of search engine optimization. He's been in there for a long time. Like I looked at some of the training that he did in there, and you just can't find that type of information anywhere. So like, how do you get guys like that to come in and share that type of information just so freely? Like you can't get that anywhere else. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of reasons. One is that I've coached probably about half the people that are contributors, so that certainly helps. I'm close friends with most of the people. And in addition to that, you know, we have, I think, like our subscriber base are some of the most advanced marketers. So we have an audience that people like to get in front of. And then I'd say last but not least is that Steal Our Winners has kind of become a place of record. So, you know, when I invented the automated webinar, you know, part of me was like, maybe I'll try and keep it a secret, right? But like, I also recognize that that's kind of going to be impossible. Mm-hmm. That back then, especially when I was even more, you could say, public facing, like we used to have to chase down people all the time who were stealing pages off our website because they were throwing, and the only reason we knew about it is because they were throwing off our analytics, because our cookie would, like our analytic code would still be on the page. And I'd be like, why are we getting all this traffic to this page, right? Like that's not even on our site. Like, what is this, right? And then my team would be like, oh, that's someone who stole our page. And that would happen all the time, right? So in other words, lots of people were looking at us. So, you know, if I'm going to create something and people are going to steal it anyway, then the next best thing is at least let the world know that I was the person that created it. Like, so later on, when other people try and take credit for it, then at least there will be a public record of it. And so I have been around people who have claimed that they like invented the automated webinar, and they gave years that were after like my report was written. And my report is kind of just proves it. Just like I've been around in meetings at Agora where people have said like I was the one that brought the VSL in, and I don't even, like, okay, you can believe that, but like I have the actual official record of it, of when it was, and the thank you from the founders. And so Steal Our Winners is a little bit like that, from the standpoint that if you invent something, if you know the world's going to kind of take over it, then might as well get some credit for it up front and kind of stamp it as your thing, so that as time goes on, you get the benefit of having been the inventor of that thing or that strategy or that approach.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be, I mean, it works really well. Like you reeled Tom and myself in there. So for for those of you that don't know, like, Tom and I have
a show off factor, like what you figured out that really other marketers are going to appreciate more than, it's like, my girlfriend is not impressed by, we've been together for 12 years, but she's not impressed by internet marketing. I can't go back into the house and tell her about some amazing thing, but like, so that's what I need my internet marketing buddies for. Right. And so it's kind of like a place where you can kind of show off what you've created. And I think a lot of people enjoy that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple of things. One, I've been working behind the scenes. So Facebook is back up. So we're cooking with gas now, Nick. So that's good. But we sent out a couple emails to get some people to YouTube too. So we're going to have to do the shout outs in a minute. But one of the things that you said on the thing the other day, Rich, that I just thought was like, I mean, it's just so crystal clear to me to a lot of the things that we do here in our community is you just kind of made a side comment and you were like, when somebody says, "What's that?" you now have their attention, and marketing can actually start, which like that idea that, okay, so the first thing we have to do, and obviously like I've heard this a gazillion times, right? Like you hear it about everything. What's the headline supposed to do? Stop them and get their attention. What's the subject line supposed to do? Stop them, get their attention. But like, I don't know why that just hit me so hard when you said it the other day on the thing of like, oh yeah, like we want something that a person's going to go, what's this? Like, and for us in our community, we have a thing called Agency Growth Machine. There are these community websites. You've seen it before. And like, that's the thing that we use, because when people see that, they go, oh, what's this? Like, what's this in my community? And then, again, that starts the ability for us to market and build a relationship and grow with them. And I think that's really a great example for people that might be watching this of how online marketing and just marketing foundation, understanding what's going on in reality, not in some made up marketing land, right, is key to getting success with whatever you're trying to do, because those principles and foundations will always apply to whatever the tactics and strategies might be. Right. And, a lot of times people are just they're just so enamored with the tactics that they forget that those tactics are really just, there's always some underlying principle or foundation thing that's more important to be focused on besides the tactics, right? So having a place where you can see all these different tactics, and this was a long way to try to get here, having a place where you can just log in and see all these different tactics about what to do and how to do it is really key. Like, look, let me show you guys this. Hold on, let me pull this up. And then, hold on. Of course, everything is moving slow.
Well, so I wrote these two reports back in 2007 called the Attention Age Doctrine 1 and 2, right? And in the Attention Age Doctrine 1, it was all about how attention was going to become the scarcest commodity online, and what were the implications for an entrepreneur in order to grow a business, recognizing that their prospects have too many demands on their attention, their employees have too many demands on their attention as well as themselves. And so that was Attention Age Doctrine 1. And then Attention Age Doctrine 2 was just following along with attention is becoming the scarcest commodity online. And one place where attention is going to go is this new area called Web 2, social media, where it's much more of a two-way conversation. And I remember, like, during that time, I shared either one or two, I don't remember which one, with John Carlton, and who's a famous copywriter. And John said to me, and I was like, I just stuck with me. He's like, after reading this, it's kind of like what you're telling me is that, you know, there's the standard formula in copywriting, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action, right? And so John said, it's almost like there's an AIDA in front of AIDA. Like there's a whole AIDA and the action is giving their attention. So like you have to grab attention, get their interest and desire. And the action that the end result is that they'll give you their attention. So then you can build bigger desire, bigger, you know, interest, you know, et cetera, right? Like, and there's some truth to that, because if you compare where we were, let's say 20 years ago to where we are today, it certainly is more difficult to get people's attention today than it was 20 years ago. There's a lot more things competing for attention today than there was. You know, there wasn't anything like clickbait. There wasn't, you know, there were so many of the things now that we've kind of grown a buffer against didn't even exist yet, right? So the game of attention is one that is consistently kind of being fought and blocked as it continues to escalate. And as marketers, we're always trying to get attention because the beginning of any sales process has to start with attention, or, you know, you're talking to nobody.
Yeah, which is why so many times, you know, when you're trying to do, like, I mean, for the agency side, if you're prospecting and you're sending out cold emails and nobody's responding, that's why, right? You're not doing enough to get their attention, to get them to be slightly interested in what you're doing. This is what I wanted to show you guys. So here, look, I pulled this up over here because this was, hold on, let me share my screen here.
I'm laughing because someone asked my last name and it's showing on the screen my last name.
So this is the inside of Steal Our Winners. And what I wanted to show you guys, what I meant by like having a place where you can go to figure out. And this is how I use this a lot. By the way, we have been paying members of Steal Our Winners since, I mean, pretty much since I think you launched it, like way before I ever met you or we knew you or anything like that. So this is something we've used for a long time. And a lot of times for us, it looks like this. So we're having an issue with something. So we'll come into Steal Our Winners and we'll go to the topics. And I mean, look at all these different topics. Like if maybe you're having an issue with email.
Zoom in a little bit, Tom.
Yeah. Here.
I got those bad eyes, you know?
Yeah. Oh, crazy. But like, maybe you want to know about email or how to do something on TikTok or deliverability, right? Even things like goal setting, high ticket sell, all this stuff. Like, look at all this stuff. So you just go in here and you click these, right? And it'll pull up a series of tactics that are working right now, like things that people are doing right now. And I think that's because we've talked about this a lot in our business. A lot of times the things that we're doing that are really moving the needle, like we can't really teach them or talk about them because we're doing them, you know, and to take all the time to put together a whole course and do all that stuff is just too much. But I think what's great about what you're doing is you just get on a call with these people, they lay it out, you break it all down in the PDFs and everything. It's really great. Like, this is
well, it makes me a much better consultant and coach to my clients, right? Because I'm constantly being educated in strategies and tactics that are currently working, right? Yeah. And so at the end of the day, you know, I charge a lot for my time and my clients expect results from that. And one way to ensure that is by having access to these types of strategies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we use a lot to go in when we're trying to solve a problem or figure out another angle, or we have something that's not working, we need to improve something. So really, really valuable resource. One thing, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to echo what you said. You know, like there have been multiple times where we have not had success with you know, YouTube for a specific client, and we have to get some ideas, you know, some fresh blood into a campaign and what we're doing. And like the go-to resource for that is like Steal Our Winners. And it's because, I mean, you can go on YouTube. Here's the difference, everybody. You can go on YouTube and you can go look for stuff. And there's a lot of great information out there, but they are not, the information that is out there is not the winning stuff from all of the top level people that have been in this game since the beginning, you know? So you can,
it's very different, right? Like the problem in every market is different as it relates to information. So like I have a sister site that I haven't launched yet. I created it. It's just like out there, but it's for biohacking, and it's called Apex Human as opposed to Steal Our Winners. Now in marketing, once you understand like the life cycle of marketing, then you know that where the most valuable stuff is at the beginning towards its inception, and getting that information you're not going to find on YouTube, right? Just, it's not going to be there. And how you would find it, I'm not exactly sure. Whereas like in biohacking, right? It doesn't matter whether the information came out last week, last year, or 3 years ago, if it's valid and good information, right? So like, you know, in biohacking, it's like there's too much good stuff. And how do you just find the stuff that's relevant to you based on what it is that you want? But in marketing, there's tons of information, but the information that's highly valuable is about what's working right now. And that you can't find anywhere else. So, you know, yeah, there's plenty of good information on YouTube. I've learned, you know, I spend a lot of time on YouTube, but you won't find those things that can make the most amount of difference on YouTube until like years later, when at that point it's already getting to a place where everybody knows.
Yeah, it's already too saturated. Well, look, there's a couple things here. So Cameron, he's our COO at Offline Sharks, and he reminded me that we got the lifetime deal during the mystery box promo, which if you don't know what a mystery box promo is, Rich actually broke it down on the training that we did on Wednesday, along with the pattern, which is a real eye-opener, and a bunch of other stuff that you can immediately apply to your marketing and start implementing to get better. And I'm going to put a link. Don't go there now because we still have some time left in the live show here, but I'm going to put a link at the bottom of the screen. It's offlinesharks.com/the OG. And you can go watch that presentation. It was on Zoom, so you can actually see Rich, and it's really great. So you guys should go check it out. It's so funny because we have our weekly team huddle on Thursdays, Rich. And so like the first thing we started with this week was the webinar. And we were like, okay, Rich's webinar. And we were all three like, that's probably the best webinar we've been on, because we were like, it just resonated so much with us and what we're doing, you know, and just,
I think I would love for you guys to do a mystery box sometime.
I think we should. I was thinking about that after. I was like,
I know like how it does, but I bet you it will crush it, and you'll be surprised at how well it crushes it.
I think so.
I bet it would kill it.
I mean, all of the psychology behind it is just, it's genius, you know?
Yeah.
And the timing, it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's perfect. What did you say that does? Like, what are the results that people see with the mystery box?
Well, we got a 78% conversion rate on it.
Wow.
And I've seen higher.
Wow.
And, but everyone tells me it's their highest converting upsell. Yeah. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, I can see, I mean, like, just, I'm not going to give too much away, but just the fact that, like, you're right, whenever somebody gets something, like, your first job is to try to convince them that this thing is for them, right? Yeah. That it applies to them in some way. And the great thing the mystery box does is it eliminates all that. Like,
it eliminates all of it.
Like, all of it. Like, it just, like, it applies to everybody, which is, like, anyway, really crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, Rich, one thing that we do on our weekly live show, we typically do this at the beginning, but because we were having some technical difficulties and stuff, I think we probably need to take a minute and do it now. But we do what we call shark shout-outs. Bless you. And these are every week, people in our group, when they go out, they use the tactics, the strategies, the things we talk about, they get wins, they get clients, they book deals, they post them in our Facebook group, and then we share them on this live show. So we're gonna do this real quick, and then we're gonna take your questions too, because we got about 15 minutes here. What are you gonna say?
I said that's exciting. I'd love to do a shout out on them myself.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. And then so if you have questions for Rich or for us, pop them in the chat there. So here, let me share my screen here. Normally we do a member of the week, but we didn't do one this week. It's so funny, Rich, because you talk about the mystery box thing, and this is like a swag box that we put together that we send out to people that just do good stuff in our Facebook group. We just pick a person at random, and like somehow it started in the beginning. Nobody will tell anyone else what's actually in the box.
Oh, that's great.
So now for like a year and a half, it's been this big mystery of like, you only know what's in it when you get it, and pretty funny.
Our community basically made a mystery box out of our treasure chest, is what we call it.
Yeah. People post videos all the time. And they're like, and what's inside? And then it just cuts off. It's really great. Anyway, so these are our shark shout outs for last week. So first up, Remote Millionaires member Stormin Norman Thomas. He closed a new Google Business Profile client and a new SEO client. So a little over $1,100 US for those two clients. Awesome work, Norm. Fantastic stuff.
Congratulations, Norman.
Yeah, that's
cool.
That's a good one. Marvin Drobes, 2 new social media clients closed, $3.99 a month to a bagel restaurant. Closed them after offering 15 days of free social posting. That was his lead offer. And then the restaurant owner has a brother who owns a pizzeria who also signed on for $3.99 a month.
Sweet.
Man, dangerous. Those are some dangerous clients. Don't be doing no bartering over there, Marvin.
2 solid wins there. 2 solid
bagels and pizza.
This is Yakin. This one, I was excited to see this one. He got $328 just to do keyword research for a web design agency that he worked with. Awesome stuff, Yakin. Great win. Great win. Taps. He unloaded on us this week. He sold a $2,500 for an HR agency website, $2,500 for a cleaning website, $9,500 3 months digital consulting, $2,000 web out build for a health agency, and $797 for a Shopify store gift shop for car dealerships, plus a Google marketing deal with a law firm in Perth to be finalized next week. Crushing it, Taps. And Taps is a Remote Millionaires member, and he posted in the group, they've actually opened their own dedicated office in the Philippines for their team. And
are they in Australia?
I think he's in Australia, yeah. But really, really great stuff. Man, he's just killing it over there. So
and it makes sense too, right? With like that many clients that he gets consistently, like you have to have some sort of team and infrastructure to help sustain that growth that he's having, which, we're feeling that in our agency too. Like we know, man, maybe we should open an office in the Philippines, Tom.
You just want to go to the Philippines.
Employees come from the Philippines.
Yeah. We have a lot of people on our team from there. We have like 4 family members. They're basically in the same family. They all like live together, and they're like some of the best members of our team. They all collaborate all the time. I mean, it's basically an office, right?
Yeah, they've been with us for a long time too. Great people. So that's Taps. Also, Jacqueline Heath, our friend from across the pond, secured 3 new website deals this week. Website for a community neighborhood group, 500 pounds. That's about how much I bench, Rich. Just so you know, 500 pounds. New website and Google Business Profile update, 1,000 pounds. And then an existing client needs medical compliance updates to his website and another website, 2,000 pounds. So a total of just around $4,600 US. So congratulations, Jacqueline. That's an awesome win. Also, Nick Ponte Marketing, the sales rep closed a deal for a new $5,000 website, $1,000 SEO campaign, plus 2,000 Google Ads campaign. Her first day back from vacation. So Megan hit the ground running. Awesome to see that. And for those of you that are keeping track at home, that is a combined total of $26,783 just for the week of June 10th through the 16th. So in just 6 days, just a little under 30 grand generated in the group. That brings our grand total since the start of 2023, the wins that you've shared, that you've done, a grand total of $854,792 since the start of 2023. So congratulations out there, everybody. Really, really good work. If you're taking action, getting wins, make sure you share them in the Facebook group. If you're not, why? Come on, let's get out there. Take some action. Do some things. Watch the training on Wednesday, then implement some of that stuff, and let's get going, right? we got a big goal. We're trying to, we did Rich, last year, our members closed 1.6 million in business. And so we're trying to double that this year. So we got to pick up the pace, people. We're almost halfway through. Awesome.
You're on track.
Yeah, they're doing good. They're doing good. Great stuff. Okay, so let's see. I want to see if we have any questions in the group while they're coming by here. And, you know, Rich, maybe one of the things I could ask you, because I don't think I said this at the beginning, but I actually met Rich at the Titans Mastermind here recently, and he did a presentation. That's why we wanted to bring him to the Sharks community, because when I saw the presentation, I was like, man, we got to get this guy on here. What are some of, like, maybe you can just name a couple of quick strategies that you've seen recently that you think are like super, like this is something people should be paying attention to?
Oh, for sure. Like if, you know, especially whenever I hear a similar story from very different types of businesses, like in size or something else, right? And this particular case came that way. That one was from, I was talking to Joel Irway and I asked him what was new and what was working for him. And he said that he was, for the very first time, selling his front end profitably. Like, in other words, his $27 product on Facebook, he was selling for less than $27. And, you know, that wasn't the main point of having that front end product. It was to get customers for his more expensive stuff, but he was excited that it was profitably selling. And then the same strategy was told to me by a company by the name that produces a sound wave medical device called the Phoenix. And they are like about $100 million a year business. So they are spending millions of dollars on Facebook. And but the strategy was the same, and a little bit more statistical proof with the latter, but same strategy. And what Laurel Poirier, who is the woman that was actually doing the ads for Joel Irway, because that's who Joel turned me on to, because he didn't even know the strategy. He's like, you're gonna have to talk to her. And it was Laurel Poirier that broke it down. And what she was doing is producing high quality videos to attract cold traffic. And then if someone watched at least 25% of that, they became middle or bottom funnel just by like having watched that. And then she was doing daily posts that she was boosting for like ads, and any ad that did well in those 2 days, because the boost only lasts 2 days, she would then move over and actually put into the ad account, and that would then go to people who had watched at least 25% of the videos that they were advertising up there, right? And when I spoke to Charles Kirkland, who was the media buyer for the Phoenix and that brand, they had done crazy amounts of tests, and they found that highly produced videos at the top of the funnel were absolutely necessary, but that highly produced videos anywhere else lowered conversion. So it was necessary up top to get cold traffic to stop, get their attention for, you know, and then, but below that, so that's one that has recently kind of come up a couple of times.
So that's interesting. So you want your like, if you're running ads with videos, those videos need to be high quality and good
if
stuff.
You're running it to cold traffic.
If you want to get the cold traffic. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're building the audience. And think about this for your agency clients, people. Like if you have a solar client, right? And this is a recurring, there's several people in Steal Our Winners that have audience building tactics that are like similar to this. And I actually learned this from in there too. Where think about if you have a solar client, right? And they don't have a lot of leads, but they want you to do advertising. So what you would start out doing is you'd create a piece of content, or have your client create a piece of content that would be all about solar, how you can save money, how you're going to have AC 24/7 and you're living in a hot place like Hawaii or whatever it is. And so the people that watch that video longer than 25% are clearly a little more interested than people that just skip right over it. So what you can do with your advertising platform like Facebook is that's an audience, right? You can target the people that have stayed over 25% of the time. And so what you're doing is building a pool of people that have that interest. And then what you do is you take that pool of people and you build a lookalike audience. And Facebook algorithm is so amazing. There's so many, we all know they collect a lot of data, right? They're all about data. And their ability to replicate an audience off of something like that is incredible. And now you can create a lookalike audience of millions of people that you can serve solar ads to that are they're more middle of funnel, like Rich said, like, because these people are interested, now you can talk to them in a different way. And it could be much more about like an installation or saving money. And that way you can provide that type of value to your clients. And, we have a solar client that's been paying us $5,000 a month for like 3 or 4 years. And one of the ways that we do it is we create audiences on Facebook and we retarget them on Google Ads.
Makes total sense. So that was one that was good. I think this could be useful to really, let me see if I can share this.
So you're doing that, Charlene. The training we did on Wednesday was really about this topic, like how to identify what's working right now that other high performing businesses and entrepreneurs are doing, and then implement that stuff in your business. So there's a link at the bottom of the screen, offlinesharks.com/the OG. After the live show, I would go check it out. Rich did an amazing presentation. You guys will get a ton of value out of just watching it, right? Really, really good.
So I thought this was really valuable. This was given to me by Tyler Gardner, and Tyler works with Rohan over at GrowRev. And so they manage like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, ClickFunnels, and a bunch of other big brands, right? Like they're huge agency. And so how do they stay on top of all of their customers and know like when they're spending millions a day across the board, right? Like how do they manage all these accounts and how do they make sure that, everything's hunky-dory? And I think that's useful for any agency, but it's also useful for any entrepreneur if they just want to stay like on top of what's going on in their business. Like it might be a good way of looking at it. And they break up, they have a I'm forgetting the word. I'm just drawing a blank. On their screen, a dashboard. There you go. They have a dashboard that has these 5 different metrics on it: CPM and CTR, which is a function of what you're paying for your advertising. A cost per click is CPM times CTR, right? Like that's kind of what you're paying there. And then the effectiveness of what you do, right, is conversion rate, AOV, and lifetime value. And then underneath that are a bunch of levers that will help if that metric is underperforming, right? And then underneath those are even below that of like sub levers that you could pull. But so the idea is that if you stay on top of these 5 metrics, you're really kind of on top of your business, like from a standpoint of advertising, marketing, and selling. And if any of these metrics need help, it's very clear there are many different addressable ways to kind of move those metrics. So I just thought that was kind of a useful way of looking at things for people who have to look at a lot and have to stay on top of a lot more than maybe you or I have to. So I thought that was kind of...
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because that especially happens to agency owners. Because the more clients you get, like the thing they don't tell you is like, yeah, you're like, oh yeah, I just want to have a lot of clients. But with a lot of clients also comes a lot of information and data and different things that have to be tracked, as Nick can tell you. I mean, he's the one wrestling that tiger right now. But it's like, that's such a huge advantage to be able to find other people that have dealt with that and see how they're handling it.
Well, that's the value in it, is like in the beginning when you're doing it all yourself, you get to a place of some sort of a constraint or bottleneck in your business. Maybe you have now 20 clients where you only had 2 before, and you have to come up with some sort of a method, some sort of a framework, a science for your team to follow your instruction to produce the results that you can produce by yourself. And so, when you face one of these constraints in your business, you usually have to come up with that method, with that framework, with, some sort of a system, which is, that PDF, that document that Rich just shared, that's a system, right? Like that's a system that you can show people in your business to bring them up to speed with your method of keeping your process and your conversions above the board, and how you run your advertising, right? Like that's the model of your advertising. And so the nice thing about having insider access is that you have the ability to not have to go and reinvent the wheel, rebuild those systems. And so, yeah, you guys, we're gonna keep this training that we did with Rich live for just a couple of more days. I think 3 more days. So, you should definitely go check it out. If any of you are interested, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a secret here. Tom and I, we have an agency, but we have an online business as well, Offline Sharks. And so how did we go from agency work to real, true, effective making money online? Well, Tom and I, for the first time ever, actually shared with Rich our process for actually making that happen. How do we do the launches that we do and grow and build Offline Sharks? You find that information in Steal Our Winners. And we have a special opportunity at the link on that training where you can go and check it out for basically there's no risk. So go check it out.
Yeah, I think you guys will love it. And Rich, we want to respect your time. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We do have one more thing we do on it. So there are a couple things. We didn't do our intro, Nick. We didn't do the intro because we just launched right in, which is okay. But we're going to do the outros. So we got 2 more things to do before we go. So first off, let me get to this. It's time to...
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
Can't start the weekend off right unless we have the money song. So every live show, when someone goes to the shout out post and just says, congrats, congratulations, way to go, whatever it is, leaves a comment, we pick a couple of people at random and we just send them some cash just because it's fun. So Nick, who are our winners today?
So our winners this week are Jerry Wright and Donna Norris. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jerry and Donna. The team will reach out to you to get your info. I know we had some hiccups in the beginning with Facebook, but we appreciate you guys showing up and hanging out with us this Friday. We'll be back next Friday, same shark time, same shark channel. Until then, stay safe, practice Aloha. Go to the link, offlinesharks.com/the-OG and watch the training. And Rich, thank you again for being here. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
See you guys later. Thanks, Rich.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam Session, your weekly marketing live show, always bringing you the latest strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with the Remote Millionaires Podcast at remotemillionaires.com/podcast and Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then, aloha.